Welcome all to the stream, guys. How are you guys doing? Let me quickly open up the live stream chat, and there we go. Once again, a YipX BitcoinHyper live stream. I think this is the 4th edition already, maybe even the 5th. I can't remember. But once again, I'm super excited to have a co-stream together with actually one of the very, if not the first guy that I was watching back in the day on YouTube when I started out with trading, and that I've been in close contact with for I think around a year now. We met once in Dubai. We're gonna meet up again this time in Dubai in 2 weeks from now. And the last few times that me and Hyper were streaming, it actually marked the Bitcoin bottom and the entire market started dumping. Hyper, my friend, first of all, how are you doing? And second of all, do you think another pump is due after our live stream together, my friend?
Yo, hello everyone, welcome everyone to the stream. Yep, thank you very much for the invitation on another live stream. I'm really looking forward to it because I do think Bitcoin could potentially see some bigger moves in the upcoming days, especially next week. And in the next couple of days, some of the best trades can potentially be made. And if you're going to miss, most probably the entire bull market can be ruined for you, because only in the next couple of days Bitcoin is going to potentially start breaking this major trendline resistance. If broken, if confirmed, I really do think bull market can continue, and I think we are going to discuss about this on today's live stream, man.
Hello, Hyper? I can't hear you anymore, just so you know.
Hello?
Yeah, now I can hear you again.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, yeah, pretty much. I really do think that the next couple of days are going to be awesome for the entire crypto market. And yeah, on today's live stream, both of us, maybe you or I am going to start with the technical analysis. I actually prepared some very interesting stuff on a higher term time frame, weekly and also monthly. Some stuff that people sometimes don't really pay attention to. And I really do think they are important. And yep, really looking forward to it. And maybe not only we can do a technical analysis on Bitcoin, but also maybe some other cryptocurrencies such as Ethereum, because Ethereum is right now already seeing a very nice push towards the upside. Especially Ethereum Bitcoin chart is also right now trading at a very important level. So yeah, looking forward to it, and let's see where things are going to go.
Definitely, man. I'm super excited once again to discuss Bitcoin, Ethereum, and I definitely do think that we also have to talk about Solana. I think the chart looks absolutely amazing. So I think without further ado, I think it's up to you to dive into Bitcoin. Then I will do my analysis on Bitcoin. Then you discuss Ethereum and I discuss Ethereum. Then I will share my current swing long that I'm in on Solana. And then I would love to see your view afterwards as well on Solana before we wrap up the stream. In that case, I think we have an awesome stream ready for the people that are watching. And also to the people that are watching, if you guys have any questions, feel free to let us know. And as always, me and Hyper are ready to answer all of the questions for you guys. Someone is saying the audio of Hyper is a little low. I'm going to higher it a little bit. Let me know if it now improves, guys. And once again, let's dive into it. I'm very excited to see your analysis, Hyper. Let's get it.
Okay, so thank you very much, Yip. Let's start actually on the weekly time frame, because on the weekly time frame, everything pretty much looks very nice, very bullish. Bitcoin is still having this bullish market structure, higher highs, higher lows. But on the other hand, looking on the crypto fear and greed index, people are really scared. I even saw on Twitter the other day, some of them are selling after such a big decrease on the Bitcoin price, because once you go from the all-time high back towards the low, we have seen a decrease of approximately 32%. And selling after such a big push towards downside, at least in my opinion, it is not really the smartest idea. And let me now share with you some very nice levels people are not really aware of, and those are going to be one of my favorite high-term time frame levels. On the Fibonacci channels, looking right now at this one, where I am making it literally from the low of approximately 16,000 US dollars, you can see how nicely the golden Fibonacci ratio has been respected. Now, I would say that with this entire push towards downside, the support level wasn't really like perfect. However, on the other hand, you can see we at least some kind of nicely held the golden Fibonacci ratio, and then Bitcoin exploded towards the upside. And as of right now, if you pay attention to this specific price action, I do actually think it can potentially be something very, very similar versus what we got back in August 2024. Some kind of a deviation from the golden Fibonacci ratio. And after this deviation, if we start actually moving impulsively towards the upside, I would not only be looking for the target area of approximately 96,000 US dollars, but maybe even a brand new all-time high above 110,000 US dollars. But we are going to go go towards why the 96,000 US dollars is such an important level in a moment. Now, I also want to share with you another very interesting Fibonacci channel levels, because it also does look like couple of months ago, Bitcoin, yes, we did not hit this specific level exactly, but also right here, we did not hit the Fibonacci channel perfectly. We got some kind of a front run, and only then we got this insane push up towards a brand new all-time high. Right now, you can also see, potentially it can be some kind of a front run of the Fibonacci channel level, and if this is right on the case, literally, exactly what happened in the previous months. And once again, usually when I tell to people how I like to trade, I do not guess. I look at the data and you make a decision as objectively as possible. Right now, clearly, two previous times, once Bitcoin got a push towards upside, once everyone got scared, we got a front run of the level and then an insane push towards the upside. And as of right now, potentially something very similar can actually happen. That is why in my videos for the past couple of days, for the past couple of weeks, I have been telling people that I do think the low at approximately 75,000 US dollars is actually in on Bitcoin, and ideally, I would really like to see another all-time high. Couple of days ago, I even made a very interesting tweet where I asked people if they think the bottom for Bitcoin is in. And let me right now scroll down right here where you can see on 10th of April, which means 7 days ago, I asked, what do you think? Has Bitcoin bottomed out? A lot of them actually said no. We got approximately 1,000 votes, and majority of people are saying no. Now, I would like to ask you, Yip, what do you think? Has Bitcoin bottomed out? Or maybe if you even participated in this survey, what you actually went with, yes or no?
I actually also think that Bitcoin has bottomed out, and obviously I will share my chart later on, but I 100% agree on that statement. Obviously, we have no certainty in trading, but like you said, we have to go off the data that we can work with and try to make the best decision possible and trust the probabilities to play out in our favor. And I also do think that currently we are definitely looking at a higher probability for the current low to hold as a bottom than for crypto and for Bitcoin to make new lows.
Yeah, so it really does look like majority is right now potentially going to once again going to be wrong, because majority said no. Of course, I'm not saying with 100% probability we cannot go lower. However, some very interesting signs are there in terms of the Fibonacci channels that, historically speaking, are playing out very, very nicely usually. Also with this specific Fibonacci channel, and also something very important I always pay very close attention to. And this is going to be one of my favorite indicators, which is for sure the RSI indicator, or the relative strength index. Also, a lot of people that are involved in alternate waves really like this specific indicator because it is measuring the momentum of the move. It is measuring the relative strength of the price. And once you compare the RSI with the price action itself, I really do think you can get some insanely accurate trades. Now, on the daily time frame, for the past couple of days, we have been seeing an insane bullish divergence. Lower lows have been forming right here, while Bitcoin have been, lower lows on the Bitcoin chart, higher lows on the RSI indicator. So clearly you are seeing a regular, normal bullish divergence. And usually those divergences right here really play out, especially on the daily time frame, and especially once you combine the alternate wave theory with the volume indicator and also with simple liquidity levels. And what you're right here going to see, we got a higher low on the RSI indicator, and also we got right here a brand new lower low, which was simply a swing failure pattern or a liquidity grab. People once again got ragged, got bearish, and because of the bullish divergence, because everyone got ragged, we simply then got another rotation back towards the uptrend. Also, one very important thing I just want to mention real quickly, it is going to be the hash ribbons indicator. This indicator, historically speaking, has also been very, very accurate. And usually, I like to compare this specific price action with this one right here. Buy signal, push down, liquidity taken, pump it towards a brand new all-time high. Also right here, buy signal, we got another push down, liquidity taken. Historically, we should be expecting another all-time high in the next couple of months. However, of course, we trade from level to level, and I am not directly going to target another all-time high at 110,000 US dollars. We need to go from level to level, and another major area of resistance that is coming up on Bitcoin is going to be, as I said before, at approximately 96,000 US dollars. But we are going to talk about this level in a moment. Now, let's go with a major diagonal area of resistance, which everyone is right now paying attention to. Because yesterday, also I posted on Twitter right here, that ideally we are looking for the first daily close above this major diagonal level of resistance. Unfortunately, it failed because Powell got a speech and Bitcoin got another push towards downside. However, today, in only 5 hours and 45 minutes, we can be closing the first daily candle above this specific diagonal area of resistance. Now, I do know some people are saying to me, bro, you're making this specific trend line completely wrong on your chart. Some people are using the line chart. Some people are looking only at the candle closes. Some people are not using the logarithmic chart, because if you don't use the logarithmic chart, the level, or actually the trend line right here, is already breaking towards the upside. However, because we are using the daily chart, and because the moves on the daily chart are so big, so significant, I really do like using the logarithmic chart. And it actually does look like that for the past couple of days, we have tried to break this specific level. And right now, for the first time ever, since pretty much this specific diagonal has been formed, Bitcoin is potentially going to see the daily close above the level. In my opinion, quite a significant bullish Bitcoin indication. Now, additionally, this right here is going to be, yes, a very nice bullish indication. And you can already right now see how we are how pretty much we are connecting the dots for us to get super high probability trades. Because we can see right here, connecting the dots with the RSI indicator, we can see Bitcoin is moving lower, we are seeing higher lows on the RSI, which probably means we are likely to bottom out in the next couple of days. And that is exactly what happened. Now we can then increase the probability that Bitcoin is going to move even higher towards the upside if the diagonal level is going to be broken. And then additionally, another important thing that I'm going to be paying attention to is going to be this specific high. The entire market, in my opinion, is, as of right now, paying attention to the 95,000, 96,000 US dollar area. But why so? Not only because of the liquidity level right here, but if you go with the Fibonacci from the high back towards the low, again, I would like to use the logarithmic chart for this case, because we are on the daily time frame where moves are quite significant. If you're going to go without the logarithmic chart, the golden pocket, it is going to be slightly different, but nevertheless, let's go with the logarithmic chart, and you can see this perfect alignment with the liquidity level and with the golden pocket. Both of those levels, at least in my opinion, are very strong area of resistance where, of course, if reclaimed towards the upside, I would get even more bullish, expecting another all-time high to be formed on Bitcoin literally by the end of this specific year. However, at the moment, we are not there. We are right now only seeing potentially the daily close above the diagonal level, which, yes, for sure, it is going to be the first or actually second bullish indication of Bitcoin, but nevertheless, then, of course, we also want to break the major golden Fibonacci ratio at 95, 96,000 US dollars. Now, what if we zoom in a little bit? Or actually, no, before we zoom in a little bit.
Hyper. I have one question, because you said something very interesting, that you were stating everyone is looking at a trend line breakout right now. We all also know that, like, usually the majority of the market is wrong. So how do you feel about that?
Like with this specific trend line, I do think, at least how my Twitter feed looks, it looks like majority of people are paying attention to this specific trend line, right? Without the logarithmic chart. So we are already at the moment breaking it towards the upside, and people have already probably longed Bitcoin approximately at this specific area. Now, this is actually something very important because there is also something that I talked about in my video today, where if people are longing the breakout, usually we want to shake them out first and then continue higher. Now, if you go right now on the logarithmic chart once again, you can see, yes, the daily candle is going to close above the level. Is this going to be a clean breakout where we can expect only upside from there? Of course, I do not know. But of course, ideally, I would still like to see another push down, shake out weak hands, wrecked everyone that longed at this specific area, and then pump it towards the upside. Now, one thing that you can see if you're going to go and pay attention to the liquidations. I'm going to go right here with the symbol because I want to look at all of the exchanges for the Bitcoin chart itself. Let's go right now, for example, on the 1 week time frame. And on this specific chart, you are going to notice where majority of short positions are going to get liquidated. And it is going to be exactly above the high at approximately 96,600 US dollars. So let's just say right now, Bitcoin does not immediately see a push down in the next couple of hours from this specific area. In that case, of course, at the moment, it also looks like we are probably going to attack at least this specific high, maybe even this specific high. We need to monitor the reaction, what is going to happen. And for sure, on the breakout, we are not looking for another long position. Something I also posted literally yesterday on Twitter right here, where I said, wait, let me see, where is the tweet? Right here, breakouts do not make you rich. You are already late if you are trading the breakout. Entries before them do. Personally, I have been longing for approximately 76,600 US dollar area because I'm longing at the area of support. We are buying low, selling high. And that is usually the strategy that you want to go. If you're going to be buying at this specific level as the majority of the market, you are already late. We are taking profits from our long positions. You're only entering the position right here. So, of course, if then the market decides to dump on you, of course, you are going to get wrecked, liquidated, and you are going to say, okay, the trade clearly did not work out for me. Maybe I should then go with a short position after such a big push down. And of course, once again, the cycle repeats. You're late to the party. If you're going to be shorting on the push towards downside, the market probably then is going to reverse on you. And once again, we are going to see a push toward the upside. You're going to once again get wrecked. So that is why usually we trade from level to level. We long at the area of support. We short at the area of resistance. And with everyone right now paying attention to this specific diagonal level, yes, I'm not saying we cannot pump straight towards the upside. However, I'm for sure not looking for any brand new long positions at this specific level because you are late to the partying. The move towards the upside has already occurred. And right now, if you have not already entered a long position as of right now, I would, in my opinion, simply wait for some kind of a push down right here before firing a long position, or simply watch the market from the sidelines. No trade is also a trade. That pretty much means that if you're not going to be risking your capital to enter another trade at this specific area, simply wait for another potential setup that most probably it is going to occur literally in the next couple of days. So one thing that I would also like to point out here is that yes, Bitcoin did break this specific rising wedge pattern towards downside. And this right here pretty much means potentially we finished the first impulsive elite wave, or this right here can simply be a leading diagonal, which means the first impulse, then we get some kind of an ABC correction, and then we continue our way literally straight towards the upside for our third most impulsive elite wave. So guess what I'm right now paying attention to? Unfortunately, I don't have a crystal ball. I trade from level to level, but what I do know right now is that if we actually start moving like super impulsively towards the upside, we break through our liquidation level right here at 86,600 US dollars. We go through it literally like butter. We are going to know probably Bitcoin is moving in a very impulsive structure towards the upside. First impulse finish right here, we got a correction, and in that case, we can literally pay attention for much higher price targets. Of course, ideal price target, it is going to be this 96, 97 $95,000 US area. However, if pretty much right now depends what is going to happen at this specific level. Is the liquidity only going to be taken and we do see another rejection towards downside, or are we going to literally smash through the level? But once again, I do not know what's going to happen, but I do know I am not looking for another long position right here, because usually we don't want to go with a breakout trade. We long the support level and we short the area of resistance. Now, ideally, what I would like to see is going to be a liquidity grab. Yep, I also know that you are looking at the exact same thing as I am, because right now, this specific liquidity grab below those specific lows, it is really going to be a perfect setup. Are we going to get it? Once again, I do not know, but if we do get it, I am for sure adding something to all of my long positions on Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and also on Ondo. But also I do know probably a lot of people are going to be paying attention to this exact liquidity level. So potentially we might even see some kind of a bigger deviation towards downside and maybe even hit the anchored VWAP. What anchored VWAP exactly? If we go right now with this specific tool called anchored VWAP, anchor it exactly at the low right here, you're going to notice that the level is coming in exactly below this specific low. So in my opinion, also a very nice level for us to target in a case we are not going to see any reactions below all of our lows right here at 82,700 US dollars. So of course, it pretty much depends on the market, what it wants to do. However, I know if those levels right here are going to be hit, simply set an alert. You can literally see right here, I have an alert set right here on the right. Once the lows are going to be taken out, I'm going to be alerted, look at the chart, see what everyone is doing in the order flow right here, and then make an informed decision. By the way, in terms of the order flow right here, what are we seeing? People at the moment are closing their long positions. How do I know that? You can see that our CVD indicator is seeing a push down, which means selling pressure coming in the market. Also, open interest is seeing a push towards downside, which means money leaving the market, which means long positions are closing, and that is of course causing this long positions are closing, which is creating a lower low on the CVD indicator, because for you to close the long position, you need to sell right here, right? But the market at the moment, it is still pushing towards the upside, which technically speaking, it is forming a bullish divergence, bullish absorption. And at the moment, we are seeing a push up because it is going to be bullish divergence on the CVD indicator. So that is why at the moment, we are seeing this specific push towards the upside on the Bitcoin chart itself. Are we going to see a push down, sweep the lows right here? I don't know, but ideally, I would really like those lows to be taken out, grab liquidity, wreck everyone that went with a long position, paying attention to this specific trend line, and only then send it literally, ideally, of course, towards a brand new all-time high.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking at something similar. I will quickly see if I can share my screen with you, Hyper.
Yeah, sure.
I am actually positioned in 2 intraday shorts as well on Bitcoin. Let me see. I'm gonna present my screen to you. You should be able to see my screen, and the people on stream are obviously seeing my screen as well. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Perfect. So I will quickly start a little bit from scratch. So this is one of my shorts, and this is the other short position. As you can see, I'm currently positioned in 2 shorts. This one I wigged over here on Tuesday, and I entered another short later during Tuesday over here as well. I'm still targeting this liquidity as well, as you said. I am holding a swing long on Solana in case that the entire market is going to pump, but I'm still expecting, at least my bias is still intraday bearish until we take out all of the liquidity over here. Because in my opinion, market, as you also always say, moves from liquidity to liquidity. And I think there's plenty of liquidity resting over here, and also plenty of liquidity resting over here. And I think by getting this impulse to the upside, and also getting this impulse to the upside, and potentially by getting this current impulse to the upside, a lot of people are getting trapped into longs, right? Because they always want to trade the breakout, and by getting this impulse, price was breaking above this high. By getting this impulse, price was breaking above this high. Now, potentially, if price is once again going to break above this high, a lot of people are probably going to open long positions again. Now, I think as long as this supply holds, I still think that we should see a push towards the downside and take this liquidity first. I think we are looking at a strong high over here. Now, how do I know that? I know that because of the statistical dashboard that I'm using. I haven't really told you about this yet, but this is basically a service that tracked all of the data on Bitcoin, but also other crypto assets over the past 5 years, and is basically looking at the timing of certain weekly highs, weekly lows, but also the timing of certain daily highs and daily lows, and also the distance the price makes from certain weekly or daily highs to certain weekly or daily lows, or the other way around. Now over here you can see the summary for the current week based off the timing that we put in the weekly high and the weekly low on, and we can see that there's basically only a 14.4% probability that we are going to take out the current weekly high, based off the timing where we put in that weekly high. And we can also see that there's around an 88.5% probability that we are either going to take out the weekly high this week or the weekly low. Now, when we look at the weekly distance statistics, we can see that the probability of taking out the weekly high or weekly low this week is even bigger. It's about 100%, which means that over the past 2 years, because you can see that I select the calculation period over the last 2 years for Bitcoin, every week over the past 2 years has seen a bigger move compared to the current move that we have seen so far this week. So this is the move that we have seen so far this week, from the high to the low, minus 3.9%, as you can see, and 100% of the week, so every single week over the past 2 years, has seen a bigger move compared to the current move that we have seen so far, which means that according to both the timing, where we put in the current weekly high and the current weekly low, weekly high on Tuesday, weekly low on Wednesday, but also the distance that we made from the weekly high to the weekly low, that there's a very, very high probability that we are either going to take out the weekly high this week or the weekly low. Now, I'm favoring the weekly low because, in my opinion, the liquidity is resting to the downside, and we know that price is always attracted to liquidity. So the execution on that first short was, so this one over here, was a sweep of the previous week high that we had resting over here into this supply area that we had over here. So what you can see is that we had some supply that came into the market over here that fueled this impulse to the downside. Now, by front running that supply right over here and getting a bit of an impulse to the downside, we were engineering liquidity above the previous week high, and I was waiting for a liquidity sweep into that supply area, and that is where I entered my first short. So after I saw the first bearish rejection over here, and price also gave us a break of structure to the downside over here in the 1 hourly time frame, I was expecting, okay, if I get a pullback, I'm going to look to another short because I want this drawn liquidity over here to get taken out, just like you said as well. So it's nice that we have the same target. And as I said, I added another short. Now, this is currently where my stop loss is resting on both positions. So let me quickly find that stop loss over here. So first, my stop loss of the original position was resting at the top of that supply area, but I moved it from the top of the supply and the top of the wick to this high over here, because this is now the invalidation for my bearish bias. Also, like you said, if we push into that liquidation cluster over here, I think that bulls are really in control. Then I think that we might also squeeze higher, and then we probably leave behind all of this liquidity over here that we have been building up. If price is locally bearish, then I think we need to hold this high, get a push into this liquidity pool, and then, as you are as well, I'm gonna look for big swing shorts over here for Bitcoin, because just like you said, I also think that the bottom is in on Bitcoin, and I also think that we are going to hold these two lows, and then we are going to start pumping towards at least this liquidity over here, but eventually probably even towards that new all-time high, because we can also see that higher time frame wise when I zoom out and we quickly apply the range on Bitcoin. Give me a second. And we quickly apply the range on Bitcoin. Then we can see that right over here, we have that high time frame range low area. And right over here, obviously, we have that high time frame range high area. Now, if Bitcoin is going to see another push to the upside and it's going to test these highs, it's going to retest that range low once again. We have already seen one retest over here, a second retest, a third retest, a fourth retest, and a fifth retest. Now, we know that if Bitcoin is going to retest that range low for a sixth time over here, that a proper reclaim and a push towards the range high is very likely from a range trading perspective. So if we indeed see that pump and we go take out this liquidation cluster over here and we go and squeeze higher towards that range low, then I'm kind of expecting a push towards new all-time highs and push towards the range high right over here for Bitcoin. But intraday, I continue to hold my short positions on Bitcoin. I might be wrong, but as always, I'm simply playing the probabilities. And to me, the probabilities for now are still more likely intraday for Bitcoin to see another push to the downside. Before higher time frame, the probabilities are more likely to see intraday, to see a higher time frame push towards the upside, towards the all-time highs. So for now, I'm holding my shorts. I'm risking about 1 hour on my account currently on these shorts together, and I will continue to hold them either towards my stop loss, or maybe later this week we are going to see one more push to the downside to take out that drawn liquidity, hit my take profit on my shorts, and then potentially form another bottom where we can hopefully enter some swing longs. So that's currently my plan, Hyper. How do you feel about
Actually, yeah, actually, looking at your chart right now, I just got another idea here. Can you maybe show the screen on the stream?
Yeah. They are
Okay.
looking at my screen, or your screen, you mean?
No, I mean, yeah, my screen.
Yeah, give me a
Because
second.
now that, yeah, awesome. Because now that I see your, now that I saw your chart, I just got another idea here. Like you said, you actually want those lows to be taken ideally out.
Yeah.
And for us to rect the most amount of people, I also do think another push down is a little bit more ideal. Because also, what if we try to identify a pattern here? Let's go with the head and shoulders. Left shoulder, then we have the head.
Oh, yes.
Then we have right here the right shoulder. And of course, people looking at the head and shoulders pattern, like, guess what they are going to be doing? Let's short the
They're
breakdown.
gonna hard short Bitcoin indeed,
And they are
yes.
going to go with a short directly at this major liquidity level, exactly below the recent lows. Now, yes, even if we go and start moving slightly lower towards this specific low, they are going to think, okay, we are right now in profit. Maybe there is going to be even a bigger red candle towards downside right here. Enter a short position directly at the liquidity level, trap short positions, and then literally pump it towards the upside. This right here would be some kind of max pain that I'm right now potentially, that we can potentially right now be paying attention to. And also one very important thing that you mentioned, if I would be right now looking for any trades on the entire chart, no way I would go with a long position right now. Yes, if you go with a long right there and your stop loss literally need to be placed below this specific low, in my opinion. But then of course your target for a valid risk to reward ratio, your target I guess needs to be already pretty much an all-time high, right? So this specific long position, in my opinion, not really the best one. I would ideally, if you're looking for a new trade, you could go and look at this head and shoulders pattern, right? Look to short the right shoulder. That is actually quite a good thing, because you can wait potentially right now for Bitcoin to take out the liquidity above this specific high. So you wait for the reaction, what happens right here. And if we do see some kind, let's say we cannot close below the below this specific high, this right here is already a bearish indication. Enter a short position. For the valid head and shoulders pattern, we should not take out this specific high. So you are literally setting your stop loss exactly above the high, and then targeting, as we said before, this specific low at approximately 82,700 for potentially first take profit, and then second take profit if we go even lower for this specific low, or pretty much cash out everything at this specific low, because I do think that 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio for some kind of intraday trade is quite a good one. Yeah. This trade right here, I actually do think maybe I'm even going to take it myself. I did close my short position exactly from the high that I entered only, like, 2 days ago. I did close my entire trade. I am in no more short positions right now. All I hold at the moment are literally 4 long positions: Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and Ondo. Those are swing positions. However, I would potentially consider entering a intraday short position after Bitcoin right now takes out this specific high, maybe even in the next couple of hours. Let's see what's going to happen. But again, we have simple invalidation level above the recent high. I mean, to be honest, if we start taking out this specific high, even though it's quite a major liquidation cluster right here, most probably I'm not going to look for another short position above this specific high because I don't really think breaking such a major trend line area of resistance that I would be like looking for a super aggressive short position. To be honest, I'm not going to look for a short if our liquidation cluster right here is going to be hit. However, with the trading idea of this specific head and shoulders pattern and with a stop loss above this specific high, I do think it can actually be, it can actually potentially work. Let's see what's going to happen. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what's going to happen. However, once again, I am creating right now a plan. And also with trading, usually the most important thing is where you are setting a stop loss and where you're cashing out. You need to pay yourself because if you're not paying yourself, you're pretty much trading what? For free, right? And we are not doing this for free. We are doing this to make money, right? And for you to make money, you need to pay yourself and you need to pretty much personally, I am presetting everything. Preset a stop loss and also preset a take profit with the stop loss, I'm using a market order usually. With the take profit, I'm usually using the limit order. And also one very important thing, if you have limit orders at the liquidity levels, because it's a liquidity level, a lot of liquidity is provided right here. So it's also quite easy to fill a bigger limit order. Now, also one very important thing when I was paying attention to your analysis, because it also does look like you really like the liquidity levels. And something I also really like, and something that I would like everyone to know, is that market moves to wreck the most amount of people in the shortest amount of time. And if you can learn one thing, it is going to be liquidity. One trade I took only, I think only a couple of hours ago, was on Tau. You can actually see that I had the alert right here. It was triggered. Now you can see this beautiful trade, right? Liquidity taken below the low. And we got a reaction towards the upside of, as of right now, already 10%. Tau is one of the coins that I do think it is going to perform very well. Not sponsored or anything. I'm not even like an insider or anything. I really like the project. And also, you can clearly see liquidity taken, pump it towards the upside. And with Bitcoin, I'm really looking for the exact same thing. Let's see right now what happens above this specific high. Are we going to see a rejection for this? Some kind of a head and shoulders pattern, people shorting the neckline of the head and shoulders, trap them, and then pump it towards the upside. This right here is an ideal scenario. If we don't see push down, I really do hope you're prepared for a mega pump, because I do think that breaking such a big trendline area of resistance is quite a significant bullish indication, especially if the daily candle, it is going to close above the level. But for that, we still need to wait approximately 5 hours and 19 minutes.
This is interesting from Soai. He's saying in the chat, and I'm very curious to hear your opinion about this. He's saying, I think the elephant in the room if trade deals come through in the next 24 hours. Breaks all technicals, but way too risky to long. How do you feel about a potential trade deal coming through or not in the coming days? And is it something that as a trader you take into account when you look at the charts, or do you ignore all the news events and just focus on what the charts are trying to tell you?
Actually, that is a very good question. And I also think that, not to think, I know a lot of people also ask me, and also I see in the YouTube comments, bro, you do not pay attention at all to the news. Now, I do know news can affect and accelerate the price. That is almost 100% true. However, usually what I like to tell people, show me the chart and I will tell you the news.
Yes.
And I usually do not really pay that much attention to the news, because if you're paying attention to the news, you are already late. And also, for example, yesterday...
By the way, so I saying, PS, I respect BitcoinHyper. Learned so much from him. So he really likes you. But he was just saying that about the elephant in the room in the news. But I totally agree with you, Hyper. I think that even if I look back at like my best trades of all time, most of those trades were fueled by news events, because as you said, news events are speeding up the process of price action. So those trades basically like completed in a very fast way, where usually it might have taken a week or two. Because of certain news events, all of a sudden those trades were entered and exited the same day, and hit a major take profit target, and therefore were like my best trades of all time, you know? But I didn't enter those trades because of the news events. I simply entered the trades because, in my opinion, the chart was trying to tell me that price was moving into a certain direction, and then I trusted my system and I trusted the probabilities, and the probabilities played out in my favor, and therefore I hit a take profit. And now I will never ever blame a take profit or a stop loss on news events, you know? At the end of the day, all that you can do as a trader is try to decrypt what the charts are trying to tell us, because I think that the charts are always trying to tell us a story and always trying to tell us what kind of news event is coming, and trust your system and always let the probabilities play out.
I completely agree with you on this one. And one thing, because I like the last time we got CPI data release, I had a setup in mind, and Bitcoin did exactly that. I did not know what news for the CPI data are going to come out. However, I did know that usually we like to grab some liquidity before we do see a bigger move. And I'm not exactly sure where on the chart that was, but like it played out so nicely. Bitcoin grabbed liquidity, and then literally we got a significant reversal. And this is pretty much caused not only by the chart, because I knew exactly what I'm looking for. But of course, I did not know what the news, what the data that was coming out is going to do. And once you understand the chart, once you understand that, okay, the chart is here to rank the most amount of people in the shortest amount of time, you look for liquidity levels, which are, in my opinion, the most important levels that you can pay attention to, then combine them with maybe Fibonacci golden pocket, high-term time frame, daily, weekly, monthly levels, volume levels, anchored VWAPs, and additionally, on the entry, you go with the order flow. Bro, you have such a high probability that it's quite crazy. And with my win rate, I mean, to be honest, my win rate is definitely super high. I don't actually have the exact number how high my win rate is, but I do know that with all of my trades that I take, like maybe 2 of 10 are losing trades. All of other ones are usually, at least I put my stop loss to break even, or I simply pay myself, but maybe the main price target is not hit. However, with all of the trades, if you combine like simple techniques, liquidity, you go maybe with some market structure for the trend, you go with some Fibonacci levels, volume levels, all of those things are super, super basic. Or maybe even if you go with pure market structure, looking, for example, right here and saying to yourself, okay, we got the previous high, we got the previous lows. This right here is the support area. And additionally, because you know those lows right here are for liquidity purposes right here, you know you're buying at the support, and you're not doing exactly the same thing as majority of other traders are doing, which are actually buying the resistance and selling at the area of support. And also the other day, I was talking with one of my friends, and you can so easily. I'm not saying like super easily, because you still need to understand the chart, you still need to understand like basic TA concepts, right? However, let me just right now very quickly explain something to you, because it really opens your mind, or actually your eyes, when I talked about this to my friend. I said to him, if you right now go with a random position, you go with a random long position, or you go with a random short position, you have literally 50-50 chances that your stop loss or your take profit on 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio is going to be hit. Now, if you go to the casino and you bet on the roulette, you have less than 50% that you are going to win. Because if you bet, for example, on the red color, you still have then, I mean, there's still the black color and also then the green, right? So technically speaking, the probabilities are not in your favor. Now, looking only at the chart and literally guessing, going, for example, with a random long position, for example, right here, you go with a random long position at the area where Bitcoin is trading right now. I mean, I think, yep, you can agree with me. Bitcoin right now has a 50-50 chance that the take profit or the stop loss is going to be hit, right?
Yep.
Okay, so then you can literally go with one random level. So for example, you learn liquidity levels, right? Okay, you identify a liquidity level and you know, okay, at the liquidity level, the probability increases that we are going to see then a reversal in the opposite direction. So again, you go then with another position. Of course, in this case, you're going to go with a short position, betting that the price has a slightly higher probability, slightly more than 50% probability that is going to move lower. On over a long period of time, over, I don't know, 1,000, 10,000 trades, you are going to most probably
Make money.
going to be profitable.
Yep.
If you have at least some kind of a strategy,
Yep.
let's say you're blindly longing the support level, you have more than 50% chance that your take profit over a longer period of time is going to be hit more often than your stop loss,
Yep.
which means on the one-to-one risk to reward, you have on the one-to-one risk to reward, and if you have a higher than a 50% chance, because of course you have some kind of strategy with, I don't know, support, resistance, then, I don't know, Fibonacci levels, whatever you have, if you have more than 50% one-to-one risk to reward over a long run, you are profitable. And now, one more thing here, please. If you then go with, I don't know, you're going with 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio, because you know, of course, yeah, maybe if we take out this specific high, the probability of our trade, if we take this specific high, I no longer want to hold the trade. And you also have a strategy with liquidity levels, right? So you can then target this specific liquidity level. So not only you have no more than 1-to-1, you have 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio right here, higher than 50% win rate, like over a longer period of time, your portfolio is going to grow like crazy.
Yep.
And it all comes down to like basic risk to reward ratio. Not the risk to reward ratio, basic risk management, basic strategy, and simply sticking to the plan.
And this
This
is also the problem, because this is also why we always say, like, let's say maybe like 15 or 20% of being a profitable trader are technicals, you know? The biggest struggle for most people is sticking to the plan, executing the plan, and remaining disciplined over a longer period of time. The problem for most people is that they want to get quick gains and get rich quick, you know? They want to get into trading and expect to be in Dubai with us at token 49 in 2 weeks in a year from now. You know what I mean, Hyper? That is exactly the goal of most people that are right now watching the stream. But if we have to be realistic, for how long have you been trading right now?
I've been right now involved in the market. Actually, I was thinking about this like 1 week ago, but I got first into crypto back in 31st of October 2017. So I've been in the markets right now for what? 7 years? No, or maybe 8 years old. No, yeah, it has been 7 years.
Exactly. And how long did it take you to really get such a good and consistent strategy that you know that every single year you can live off of trading?
Now, first, once I started, I think I was pretty much like everyone else. I did not grow up like super rich. I was in a completely normal family. So once I heard about trading, once I heard about Bitcoin going parabolically up, of course, you get hooked because you think, okay, you're going to get rich instantly, right? Once you're going to start trading. But I got super quickly, I got a like reality check because but I actually got it. I had a strategy because I was trading like with a simple Adler stochastic CG oscillator. I had a strategy, and I'm not even joking. Like, I don't remember exactly, but I was on such a high win streak. I think I made like 50 or 60 profitable trades in a row. But the thing is, I did not have any risk management, right? So with only one trade, I wiped out my entire account I've built for the past, I think, let's say approximately a year.
Exactly.
So I wrecked my entire account. And once you wrecked an account that size, you really get a reality check. And that is when I started learning even more. And right now I've been profitably involved in the markets for the past, let's just say, 5 years. It took me at least 2 years for me to figure this stuff out.
Exactly. It took you 2 years to figure stuff out. But then from figuring stuff out and developing a profitable strategy and also executing that strategy for a longer period of time and really getting to the point where you know, okay, I only have to take, I don't know, 10 trades a month and I can pay all my bills, that probably at least takes 1 or 2 more years extra, right?
I wouldn't really, to be honest, because I was quite disciplined already with my strategy.
Okay.
So I didn't really have that big of a problem with like sticking to the strategy. And also, to be honest, I had quite a good mentor that I learned from. So it wasn't that long of a period of time. So I quickly got like profitable trading. I think like in the next only couple of months, I already got the gist of it.
Exactly, but like the majority of the people are struggling with that part, you know, being very. I was also very disciplined quite early on because I come from like a professional football background, so I had to teach myself discipline at a very young age. But most of the people, they're not very disciplined themselves, you know. They want quick money, they want to earn a lot of money with trading quick and pay off their bills quick with trading. So they don't really have that mindset that maybe you and I had like from an early stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
completely
so so
understand you,
then
man.
it probably takes like on average the people that really get through all the pain and all the struggles. It takes at least, let's say, like 3 years, at least, like on
I
average.
I think that if you have like a mentor, if you maybe buy some kind of a course and someone for you to guide you through the entire process, I do think it can be like 1 maybe 2 years.
Yeah,
But the thing is, like you can learn this stuff in a couple of months. Let's say you learn technical analysis in only maybe even weeks, right?
exactly. That
You
is what
learn
I'm
liquidity
talking
levels,
about.
Fibonacci levels, whatever.
Yeah,
But the real thing is, the real challenge is once you start messing around with your hard-earned money. And that is, bro, that is the exact tweet I posted only a couple of hours ago right here, 5 hours ago. Everything makes sense until it's your money on the
exactly.
line. And your emotions are going to literally your mind is going to work completely differently once your money is involved in the markets. If you're going to trade, for example, demo accounts or like without real money, your emotions are not going to be there. But if you're going to risk your hard-earned money, your hard-earned cash you worked for the past years, trust me, you're going to feel FOMO. You're going to feel scared on the push down. You're going to probably, at least for the start of trading, you're going to be buying high and selling low. Completely opposite of what you should be doing. But once you understand, first of all, technical analysis, risk management, and once you understand that you probably don't know exactly what's going to happen in the market, because with the predictions that we are making here, I've been involved in the markets for such a long time. I do have at least some kind of a feeling of what probably can happen in the next couple of days, in the next couple of hours. However, once you start trading, you have no idea if we go up, if you go down, and this is exactly how you should approach the market. You don't know up or down, but you do know what level you're prepared to trade. You can control your size, stop loss, take profit, and you should really focus on the things you can control, because you don't control up or down. You control actually only your trade, and it's up to the market to decide if you are going to make money on the trade or lose money on the trade.
Exactly. I think it's time to move to the next chart, which is Ethereum, my friend. I can't wait to see your view. Because I have
Sure,
around 35 more minutes and we need to discuss both Ethereum and Solana. Are we going to pull that off is the question.
I think we can pull this off, man.
We can pull this off, right?
Let me go quickly through Ethereum. I mean, for
Do
Ethereum,
you, by the way, already
like,
know what events you are going to attend in Dubai?
bro, like this is kind of crazy, man. I was invited to so many events
Yeah.
that I needed to cancel half of them.
Same.
I am going to some crazy events, man, but hopefully, I mean, I'm sure we are going to meet at least on the main event. But in terms of side events, you can tell me after the stream maybe to what you're going to.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about it after the stream. I'll send you all my events. And then you can send me yours, and then we can make sure that we at least attend. I'm not even gonna go and visit the main event, I think, because that's just always sucks, you know. It's always fun at all the side events.
Oh, I mean, to be honest, I even haven't been to the main event ever before.
Same,
so that is
but
why
everyone always tells me that it fucking sucks. So I'm just gonna go to all the fun side events, you know.
Oh, I mean, to be honest, I think I am going to go and check it out. But in terms of the side events, some of them, I mean, they are kind of crazy, man. So
I know.
yeah, let's right now go directly to Ethereum.
Yeah.
Like with ETH, I was waiting for Ethereum to also take out this specific low once Bitcoin is going to take out those lows right here. However, it does look like Bitcoin right now is seeing a push up. Ethereum got a push down. We took the liquidity right here, and now we are already moving back towards the up. So for Ethereum, like usually how I approach the Ethereum chart is literally exactly the same as Bitcoin because it moves almost exactly the same. I mean, for the past couple of months, maybe it has been struggling a little bit more, especially Ethereum Bitcoin chart is agreeing right now with what I'm saying that Ethereum moves exactly the same as Bitcoin because this chart, like it is dumping like crazy. However, Ethereum BTC chart, it is going to probably hit this major monthly high term time frame area of support. And then additionally, once you go with the RSI indicator, you can clearly see we are reaching the oversold area. Last couple of times we were at the oversold area. We at least got some kind of a push towards the upside. I do think Ethereum can perform well in 2025. Especially if Bitcoin is going to behave properly and potentially start pushing towards a brand new all-time high. But this specific chart, Ethereum Bitcoin, I'm right now watching this specific monthly high-term time frame area of support. In terms of Ethereum itself, we just grabbed the liquidity below this specific low. On the daily time frame, on the weekly time frame, we also grabbed a lot of very nice liquidity below those specific lows. So exactly the same as for Bitcoin. Ideally, I want the low to be right now in, and of course for us to start moving slightly more impulsively towards the upside. Now for Ethereum, if Bitcoin does right now see another push down, I would simply for Ethereum wait for this specific low to be taken, or simply take a long position once you're prepared to take a long position on Bitcoin. So, for example, you're looking for a long position on Bitcoin after we take out those specific lows right here, and then simply see where Ethereum is trading at this time. If we are ideally taking those specific lows right here, I would also be interested to fire another long position on Ethereum with a simple invalidation level. Slightly before the daily. I would not be setting my stop loss exactly at the daily level right here because it is going to be another support level and of course also a liquidity level with the recent low, but the entry can be approximately at this specific area. You should, at least in my opinion, have very tight stop loss or slightly bigger one because you have another low that is approximately at 1,503 US dollars. But I would be going also, of course, with a long position on Ethereum. I wouldn't be looking for any aggressive shorts after we have gotten such a big push towards downside. Only swing long positions on Ethereum, on Bitcoin. Ideally, after Bitcoin takes out those very important lows right here, Ethereum ideally is also taking out some important lows, some liquidity, and then hopefully we start pumping towards a brand new all-time high.
Yeah, I have a similar plan. Let's also answer some questions, Hyper, because obviously we have a lot of cool people watching the stream.
Let's go.
Someone is asking, how old is Hyper? I think we are the same age, right? We discussed it last time in Dubai.
To be honest, I'm not 100% sure. I am at the moment 25 years of age. I think you're maybe 1 year. How old are you, man?
I'm 24.
You're 24, but you're like 2000 here.
No,
born.
I'm 2001.
Oh, so that means that you're 1 year younger, man.
Yeah, I'm still a baby
you have
boy.
an advantage right here.
Yeah, I'm still a baby boy. Then Paul is asking, what's in Dubai? So Token 49 is like the biggest crypto event. Is in Dubai in 2 weeks from now. And me and Hyper are both going to visit. So there's a lot of cool Web3 companies that are hosting like side events, exchanges that are hosting side events, and that kind of stuff. It's super nice, and obviously me and Hyper are gonna meet up as well. I'm once again gonna try and convince Hyper to dox himself. I haven't convinced him yet, but last time you were doubting about it, remember?
But yeah, actually, I talked about this with quite a lot of people. If they think that I should start having a webcam on my videos, but some people actually, I really like their theory because they said, bro, you've built the entire channel, pretty much your internet presence without your face. So right now, going with my face in my videos on Twitter, maybe even, I don't really think it is going to be that of a smart of an idea. That is why I still think I'm going to right now remain anonymous. Maybe you can still see on some of the pictures, some of the videos. That is completely fine with me. However, also, for example, for the event, I'm not 100% sure how people are going to recognize me because I don't really think I'm going to like speak to everyone, so most probably they are not really going to recognize my voice. And additionally, on the entry ticket, there is my real name, right? So no one is really going to know, okay, this is BitcoinHyper. So yeah, if you are maybe going to be in Dubai for the event, maybe you can meet me, but I guess you need to be slightly more lucky. Or potentially, if I'm going to be there with Yip, and if you know Yip, maybe I'm going to be there with him, and maybe somehow you can then meet me in real life there.
Who knows? We are definitely going to meet up, my friend. Let's see. There's a lot of nice comments, by the way, guys. Thank you for all the kind words. We really appreciate it. Obviously, tomorrow is also a bank holiday in America, right?
To be honest, I have
for
no
Easter,
idea.
Yeah, for Easter. So markets were already very slow this week, but I think they might remain a little bit slow. Besides that, not really. Let's see. Not really very interesting question. Someone is asking if you can record some introductory lessons and how about you approach the market.
That is one of the most common question I get on my YouTube channel. People want mentorship. People want for me to learn them. The thing is, maybe in the future, maybe in the next 1 month, let's just say, potentially I am working on something, but at the moment it should remain a secret. However, it is going to be in the sector of like lessons and something like that. So I'm looking to work on something like that because I see a lot of demand. People really want to learn the craft, and if you have the right knowledge, and if you, hopefully at least, I know how to at least a little bit explain stuff, people can learn, and with them you literally can transform their lives if they really want to become a profitable trader, maybe an investor. And also one very important thing, like I am doing so much off of YouTube. So I'm on YouTube, for example, and also on Twitter. I'm only talking about like Bitcoin and how I'm potentially approaching the chart to go long, short, whatever. But like with everything that involves in crypto, in Web3, I'm also, for example, investing in some of the projects like spot investing, then also staking, lending, for me to generate literally passive income that you can live off of, right? So you have so many good strategies in the entire cryptocurrency industry. And I do think those information could be quite valuable to different people. So YouTube is only like one side of what I'm actually doing, but that is why potentially in the future I am working on something that could that people could benefit from.
Awesome. Vali2K is a member of mine in the Tribe Capital community. He's saying, try to bring him to our tribe. I think you are already part of the Discord server, but you're just not active. But Vali2K is trying to lure you into Tribe Capital. But I think he's gonna thank for that offer, Vali2K.
I think I do have access to your trading Discord, but yeah, to be honest, I am not really active that much in those Discords, and yeah, I mean, at the moment, maybe I am working on something, but yeah, we'll see.
Awesome. I think there's at least one more chart that we need to discuss because I am holding a swing long on that chart and that coin. I'm very interested to hear your opinion and your views on the Solana chart before I will share my view on Solana and why I am swing long on that one. I also do think that the bottom is in on this one. So I am swing long with my invalidation beneath the current big low that we formed. And I'm very curious to see your opinion, my friend.
Okay, so I think, yeah, Solana right now literally took the high at $136. That is actually quite nice. But yeah, to be honest, I haven't charted Solana for quite some time right now.
Let's start from scratch.
We should really start from scratch, and that is exactly what I like because I mean, people also, I think, can learn a lot from me looking at the chart and charting it literally from scratch. So we can start right now on the monthly time frame. We are going to plot on the chart the monthly high term time frame resistance right here. Then we are going to go with another monthly level, which you can see
beautiful.
Like those levels. When I usually say like literally craft trading with some basic levels. You can see here, monthly level hit. And we are not talking about like, we are not talking about with like big zone here. I'm talking about the exact level, and you can see how nicely this specific level has been respected. Now, bro, before we go to Solana, let me just also share this one with you because I also nailed an entry on this one. Look at this, bro. This was just my USDT. This chart got a push down directly towards the golden Fibonacci ratio, directly towards the previous high here, and from the level, we got a bounce of approximately 110%. Also, this trade right here was quite beautiful one, but yeah, now in terms of Solana, you can also see like simple monthly level, hit the level, bounce towards the upside of approximately 43%. Just beautiful, right? And once you apply then other levels to the chart, once you apply then also risk management to the chart, bro, you are printing. And I'm not even joking here. Now, also, you can see here, you got some kind of a low exactly at the monthly level. So you can see we are building right now a plan. The main reason why Solana has a high probability of bouncing at the monthly level, because there is also liquidity level.
Yep.
Once you saw the daily candle close right here, such a bullish reaction, bullish pin bar candlestick pattern. There is actually also something that I really pay attention to is our candlestick patterns. You got a bullish pin bar, and since then, again, very nice push towards the upside. Now, I am going to remove the monthly level from the chart because it has already been tapped. And remember, those specific levels are mostly respected. The best, I mean, the best level you can pay attention to is the level that hasn't been tested before. So because Solana has already hit the monthly level, I'm not going to be using it anymore. But you can see here, we formed a brand new weekly high-term time frame level of support. Now you have another one right here, which is going to be the area of resistance. We got the weekly level right here, but those are going to be the only levels that I'm going to plot on the chart. Let's go on the daily. You have the daily high-term time frame level here. This is also going to be the daily. We have another local daily support level here, and that is pretty much it. We can also go with this one, but ideally I would like this one higher. No, let's go with all of them. Let's go with all of them. We are going to put them in the folder here. So we have high-term time frame areas of resistances on our chart. Now, with Solana, we got a push down, we took out some lows here, and now we are taking the high. So again, if you trade liquidity levels, you're definitely going to say this level right here is a very important level, where you can notice, again, took the high for liquidity purposes, now a very small rejection towards downside, it is already happening. So for Solana, I would say like that. Of course, always, when you're trading, you should really first pay attention to Bitcoin and then approach other altcoins, because usually they like to move in some kind of way that Bitcoin is moving. Not exactly. Ethereum, sometimes it really likes to move very similarly to Bitcoin, but Solana's chart versus Bitcoin chart is definitely not looking the same. But for Solana, of course, I would not be looking for any longs right here, only a potential short position. And I would actually say, because potentially we could be expecting a push down on Bitcoin simply because of the head and shoulders pattern, and also simply because the liquidity below the low still hasn't been taken. Of course, on Solana, you know right now exactly that your risk, or actually your stop loss, is going to be placed above the high. And what we said before, you can have 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So not even knowing anything about risk management, I have a stop loss, I have a take profit. But with this specific trade, because you have some kind of a strategy, because of course we took the liquidity above the high, it was the liquidity level, more than 50% chance we are going to right now move towards our take profit. So that is going to be like a very simple logic. Actually, maybe I'm even going to leave this specific trade right now on the chart, and let's see if it's going to play out. But this specific high has right now been taken. Now, additionally, what we can do, because you can clearly see it's some kind of a range. You have the range high, you have the range low. This means we can be talking about volume levels. Let's measure the entire range here. You can notice we are above the value area high and the point of control. So once you see a chart being above the value area high, this is actually going to be bullish indication. So unless we are going to see acceptance back below the value area high and the point of control, of course, this chart does look slightly more bullish. Of course, we know we took the liquidity above the high right here. However, deviations are also very, very common, right? So if, for example, right now, Solana does see a push down back below the value area low and the point of control, bearish indication, the probabilities of a rotation back down towards the value area low right here are going to increase. But this specific target is not going to be like the main target I would be paying attention to. There are also some other levels to pay attention to. For example, you have two lows for liquidity. So you have this low right here and another low here. So those are definitely going to be some very important levels for you to pay attention to. Another tool that I also like using is going to be the anchored VWAP. So let's see if we go right now, first of all, with this low. Okay, so you can see anchored VWAP exactly at the low. So with the trade that I just gave you right here, you can be doing something like this. You know you're targeting a liquidity level. You know you're targeting the anchored VWAP, which technically speaking, it's quite an important level for you to pay attention to. And also because of risk management, look at this right now. First entry, for example, right here, because we took the high right there, if we see acceptance below the value area low, the probabilities increase. We move even lower. You can you can increase the size of your short position, and you're going to have more profit in a case we are going to move lower, but also you're going to have a higher average entry because you already went with the first trade slightly higher above the value area high after the liquidity grab. So it all then comes down to how much risk are you prepared to take. Again, usually how I like to trade is to go literally with a trade exactly above the high. It's going to be my first trade, and then scale into the position once the chart starts moving my way. So for example, in this case, if we do see acceptance below the value area low, bearish indication, let's look for lower. And in that case, we can be looking for the anchored VWAP and also the previous low. Now, one other thing that I would like to do here is going to be if we go with some Fibonacci levels. And you can see here value area low and the golden pocket. This level, very nice level if it actually does get hit. Now, is it going to be hit? Again, I do not know. Unfortunately, I don't have a crystal ball. However, if Bitcoin is also going to see a rejection, I definitely also see potentially Solana hitting the golden pocket here, aligning with the value area low. Now, of course, you still have this specific liquidity level for you to be aware of, but as of right now, let me also see what I said before. What is one of my favorite indicators? For sure is going to be the RSI. You can measure the strength of the entire move, and you can see you have pretty much some kind of very small lower highs here, higher highs on Solana here, liquidity taken. So what we said before also, how you can approach the chart if you're right now a complete beginner, for you to not be gambling, 1-to-1 Fibonacci, 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio level is hit, RSI lower highs right here. And if, I mean, potentially already right now the take profit of this specific trade, it is going to be hit. Let's see if it's going to become true. Again, if not, I'm going to be stopped out of the trade, this imaginary trade right now. But yeah, nevertheless, this is right now something that you could be paying attention to. Definitely not an area for you to look for longs, especially if Bitcoin is going to right now see a push down towards the recent lows.
Awesome. Okay, I will quickly explain my view on Solana as well in the higher time frame. I'm very curious to see how you feel about it. So let me quickly open up the Solana chart right over here. So I'm currently positioned in a swing long like this. First entry got hit, but I have another order ready to get hit over here as well. One of the reasons actually why I have my second entry over here is quite similar as your support levels, because we have this daily level over here and basically this previous daily level of resistance over here as well, and then we have this liquidity level acting as what I call an inducement. So you can see that we have these two daily high term levels of support, and then right above those daily high term levels of support, as you can see, Hyper, we have a beautiful liquidity level over here. So that is my second entry. Now, why am I bullish on Solana? Why am I looking for longs? And this is funny as well, right? You were talking about Solana over here taking out liquidity and bouncing off a high time frame monthly high term level of support, taking out this liquidity. I'm also bullish on Solana, but for a different reason. And that is also funny, I think, right? Because there's so many different ways that you can look at a chart and so many different strategies out there. But I believe that most of the strategies, often as long as you have a solid strategy, come down to the same thing at the end of the day. It just looks different on the chart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
So, for example, why am I bullish on Solana? It's actually because of this major range that we have over here. So we have a very big range with a range low over here that actually already got formed over here as resistance, and then it acted as support once, twice. We can actually count this as a third time of support, fourth time, fifth time, sixth, and a seventh time over here. And then we have a range high right over here for Solana, which we can see that the range high has been acting as resistance once, twice, then support once and twice, resistance and then resistance, and we dropped off to the range low. Now, once again, just like you were saying with a fixed range volume profile, also with these kind of ranges, you're always looking at deviations and you always want to trade the deviations. So for example, over here we have a deviation and another deviation that lead to an impulse to the downside. And right now we can see that we have potentially deviated beneath the range low. And we know that after deviation of the range low, just after deviation of the value area low, value area high, you should be seeing a potential move towards the range high again. Now, what is very important to me in order to be able to look at longs is that around the range high area, we need liquidity. And that is exactly what we see, because we can see that we have 1, 2, 3 important levels of liquidity exactly aligning with that range high area. So that is my main draw on liquidity. So we have a potential deviation beneath the range low. We have a range high with a lot of liquidity. And then I need one more trigger in order to be able to look at longs, and that is based off market structure. I need market structure to give me a clean structure, to look for long executions and to find a clean invalidation for those longs. Now, when I analyze the structure over here, I think there's a lot of interesting things going on in between this entire area, which in my opinion looks like a potential high time frame bottom. Over here, we can see that Solana got an impulse to the downside, then formed a lower high, and then formed a lower low before getting this impulse to the downside. Now, we know, Hyper, that if we see very impulsive moves to the upside like this, which break through previous highs over here and over here, probably a lot of people think that the bottom is in, right?
Yeah, agree.
So a lot of people start longing over here. But the mistake that people made over here, in my opinion, is that this pump, which gave us the break of structure, took place on a Sunday, and also because of a news event. It was Donald Trump announcing the official America Reserve using crypto. So we pumped on a Sunday and due to a speech of Donald Trump. So we know that pumps and dumps that happen on Sundays or Saturdays, we cannot trust them. And pumps and dumps that happen during sudden news events, so news events that aren't planned in advance, we also can't really trust them. So basically, this was a trap. And a lot of people open up longs over here. Where are they placing their stop loss? Beneath the low over here or beneath this low right over here. So that means that because of the pump, we had a lot of liquidity over here and a lot of liquidity over here. Then price is always attracted once again to those liquidity pools. You can see once again we take out the first liquidity and we bounce. We take out the second liquidity and we bounce to the upside. Once again, same thing. We get a bounce to the upside, but this is a very weak bounce. I think you agree with me, right?
Yeah, I do agree with you on this one, yeah.
So once again, a lot of people, when we break through those previous highs over here and through this previous high over here, think that the bottom is in, and they start longing the price of Solana over here, breakout longing, or over here. Once again, those people need a low to cover their stop loss, because they always place a stop loss of longs beneath certain lows. So placing their stop loss over here, placing their stop loss beneath the low over here, and placing their stop loss beneath the low right over here. Once again, we can see how price is attracted to those stops. It took out all of the stops. I think that because of this move down to take all of the stops over here, and because of this move down to take all of the stops beneath the lows over here and beneath the low over here, I think the majority of the market has now been wrecked. I think the majority of the market that was looking to long the potential bottom on Solana has now been wrecked. So that is something we really like, because we always want to wait for the majority of the market to get wrecked before we get interested in longs ourselves. So majority is wrecked, then we push to the upside over here, and we get a break of structure to the upside over here. Now, this break of structure was my trigger in confluence with the reclaim of this range low area, that I think the bottom is in, and then we are going to hold this low, and then we are going to see a push towards the range high liquidity pool. As you said, calculated gambling. The probabilities are in our favor, so I entered the long right over here with my stop loss over here, targeting that range high for a beautiful RR of 2.74, approximately an RR of 3. And that is my reason, my trigger, that I'm looking for swing longs on Solana. Now we can still see one more dip, in my opinion, to maybe take out this liquidity into those daily high-term levels of support. If we get one more dip, I will be looking to add some margin to my position on Solana with the same stop loss, just to bring my average entry down and to increase the RR towards the upside, towards that range high area. How do you feel about this setup, Hyper?
Actually, I mean, if we do see a push down, I definitely do think Solana long positions are going to look very, very juicy. Solana is one of the projects that I still think can perform very, very well. And I also do like how you mentioned the word calculated gambling, because that is, I mean, I wouldn't really say we are gambling, right? However, calculated gambling, maybe it is trading, if you look like that, right? Because you know exactly what you're doing, you know your risk management, you have hopefully at least some kind of strategy, and over a long period of time, you could, I mean, not you could, you are most probably going to make money. And talking about making money, with the trade that we entered, imaginary trade we entered only a couple of minutes ago, it does look like right now we secured 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So technically this was some kind of a take profit. I do think the Solana is going to go slightly lower towards this specific low, towards the anchored VWAP, especially right now if Bitcoin is also going to see a bigger push down. But yeah, only time will tell. Again, I don't have a crystal ball, don't know what's going to happen, but I do know exactly where we are potentially prepared to take another trade. Now, I also see in the comments, Alex said, can I ask if you could take a look at Grass USDT? Thanks, highly appreciated. Could it get back to $2? Now, with Grass USDT, because that is a Solana token, if Solana is going to perform well, and if Grass itself is also at least some kind of a good project, I do think Grass is going to perform also much better than Solana itself. But Grass, bro, I'm actually quite a bull for this project. I've been involved in this project, not like I've been invested in this project for quite a long time. It has gotten quite a big push down, but nevertheless, it also has seen quite a nice recovery since the past couple of weeks. And if you compare it to, for example, Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin has been forming like low, lower, low, lower, low. But once you pay attention to Grass, you have low and then a higher low. So logically thinking, if an asset is forming a higher low while Bitcoin is forming a lower low, isn't that considered bullish?
Yes, it's called an SMT divergence.
Yeah. So if you look like that, I think SMT divergence is also once we are seeing a difference in Bitcoin and Ethereum price, right?
Yeah. But you can also use it for altcoins versus Bitcoin. It's basically the same thing.
I think this is like ICT concept, if I'm correct.
I don't know if it's ICT. I never watched anything of ICT. I do know that SMT is quite a powerful tool to use, also on the stock market and also on the Forex market. I'm actually preparing a pretty big YouTube video on that concept nice. Spot potential tops and spot potential bottoms as well.
Like, I've heard about SMT divergence, but to be honest, I'm not really trading it. But in terms of Grass USDT, like, once you notice that we are seeing such a big difference, like higher low here and Bitcoin lower low, I do think that actually shows some kind of a sign of strength in an altcoin, because people are not selling as much of it as they are selling Bitcoin. If that pretty much means that for Bitcoin to move lower, you of course need to see more sellers, and that is why we got a lower low. For Grass to form a higher low, that simply means probably there were still enough buyers for us to not form another lower low. And that shows me definitely that people are not as aggressively selling Grass versus how many people are selling Bitcoin. And that is why I am super bullish on this project. And also one of them that I also really like is going to be Deep USDT. Both of those coins I do think are going to perform very well if Bitcoin is going to pump towards a brand new all-time high. But with both of them, look at this right now. This is some stuff that I don't really talk about on YouTube. And also I haven't seen anyone to talk about this that in depth on YouTube, how to actually make passive income with crypto, like Grass USDT. Check this out. If you're going to go on their website for staking, you are getting, I think today it was approximately 35 or 36% APY on staking. Now, combine this with like this bullish market structure, or not market structure, but like with, you have higher low here while Bitcoin is forming a lower low. An altcoin is showing a sign of strength, offering to you 35 or 36% APY on staking. And also, for example, if you're going to go with deep USDT, I don't really want like to promote any of those projects. I am not involved in any of these projects. I am only paying attention to like, of course, how much you're getting with the APY and also how they are behaving versus what they are doing against Bitcoin. And both of them, I mean, Deep USDT, this one has gotten quite a big push down. However, also, once you look at the recovery that it has gotten, we got 122% pump towards the upside from the lows right here. Grass, I do think it was quite similar, at least on this specific push towards the upside, 200% push up. On this one right here, we have gotten approximately 60% up. But the main thing that I want to point out here is that if you buy a project, you don't have to buy Grass, you don't have to buy Deep, but if you buy a good project that is offering to you a high return in staking, for example, right? You're making not only gains with holding an altcoin, but also you're making it with securing the network by staking it, right? So I do think this is literally a win-win if you're looking for high quality projects. I also, for example, if you know Tao that I mentioned before, this project, not only it's a good project, again, I am not shilling anyone this one, you don't have to buy it, I'm not involved in it, whatever, but it is also offering, I think the staking for Tao is approximately 17%. So again, you hold a high quality project, it can offer you, I don't know, 1x, 2x, 3x, whatever, but additionally, you're getting every single day staking rewards on top of it. You can then compound those this interest, you can maybe sell it for the profit, whatever you want to do with it. Now, one important thing that I also want to mention with Grass USDT, you have, I think it's a 1 week lockup period before you can take it out of staking. So this is, of course, one risk that you should take. You need to wait 1 week before your tokens are released if you wish to unstake them. If you're going to go with Deep, for example, this one on Navi protocol, it is one of the protocols on Sui. I think at the moment the lending APY is approximately 30% as well. So again, you're holding a good project that it does look like it is performing quite well for the past couple of days, that Bitcoin is struggling slightly. And additionally, you're earning quite a high interest on it. So I do think there is quite a big win-win once you're looking at different altcoins to invest. Now, I do know, of course, you still need to be aware that it is an altcoin, similarly to like OM, it is still an altcoin, but this one has gotten quite a big push down.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like with OM, like I want to be completely transparent. I was buying this specific coin at approximately 64 cents, literally at the level where it is right now. I was accumulating this specific altcoin only a couple of months ago in May 2024, like 1 year ago. I was buying this coin, and I also do think I posted about it in one of the YouTube videos. I said I am buying OM because it was, again, Bitcoin was seeing some kind of a push down right here. Look at this. Bitcoin seeing a push down. OM, on the other hand, was going flat. So again, similarly, what is happening right now with Grass, where we are seeing a higher low, this one, OM, back in the times, was still holding. Sign of strength. That is why I was buying it. I wasn't, like, usually, how I like to approach the altcoins. Of course, I am ideally moving away from meme coins. I'm not that big of an investor in different meme coins. However, I do look at the numbers, and I do think numbers do not lie. If you're looking at the chart, for example, also, you see flat line while Bitcoin is going down. I mean, in my opinion, again, sign of strength. So that is why I was super bullish on this one. I loaded up on OM approximately at 64 cents. It got a push down to approximately $7. Now, I did not cash out everything at $7. I was cashing out very, very slowly but surely. And I think majority of my position I sold at approximately $6.5. I was not fully out of this specific position. However, now I can say I am fully out because it pretty much got this insane push towards downside, and I don't really want to hold this coin anymore. That is why I am not anymore any holder. I'm not a holder of OM anymore, unfortunately. But it is what it is, right? This one got a significant crash. I was also a big Luna holder back in the days. Luna completely destroyed me, but now looking at this one, this crash on OM, if I would not be selling, it would be even worse than Luna itself. So maybe I got a little bit lucky, but no, I did not get lucky. I knew what I was doing. I was taking profit. I was paying myself. And there is also one very important thing when it comes to trading, when it comes to risk management, when it comes to investing. If you don't pay yourself, I don't know what you're doing. Again, I am not doing this for free. I am in the crypto market to make money out of it. Some people say, of course, we are here for the technology. Maybe also a little bit, right? But the main thing is, of course, for us to make money. And at the moment, Bitcoin price, ideally, we are still looking for us to take out the lows, and then we are going to go from there. Solana, let me just quickly check what this one is doing. Very nice push down. Pay attention to the liquidity level at 130 the US dollars on this one, because it is first very nice level to watch out for.
Awesome, man. I think this is the perfect way to wrap up today's stream. We have been streaming for around 1.5 hours. I once again really enjoyed it, Hyper. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Is there any last words that you would like to say to the people to wrap up today's stream?
I mean, yeah, it was a very nice live stream, man. To be honest, I haven't done a live. I think maybe even the last live stream that I did was with you, to be honest, back in like what, in December maybe. But yeah, back in the days, I was really grinding on YouTube. I had like 2 videos per day, 1 live stream per day. So a lot of content, but the thing is, this was back in the times when everything was locked. So that is why the only thing I did the entire day was look at the chart, trade, and then do content for YouTube. But right now, of course, things changed. We are a little bit more free right now. So in the morning, usually I look at the chart, I set my alerts for trades, I record a video, and that's pretty much it. So
awesome.
Yep, thank you very much for inviting me to the live stream. Of course, in the next couple of weeks, hopefully at the all-time high maybe, we can do another live stream. But yeah, until then, thank you very much for the invitation, and have a great evening, everyone. And also, of course, also you, Yip.
Guys, thank you for tuning in. Hyper, once again, I already said it, but thank you so much for hosting this live stream together with me. I'm very excited to once again see you in Dubai in around 2 weeks from now. So we will stay in touch about that. To those that haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to both me, but also obviously to BitcoinHyper on YouTube. And then I guess we will catch you guys on the next live stream when Bitcoin is trading at brand new all-time highs.